and get you all started. I am, again, just so thankful that you have taken the time out of your day, whether you're at home enjoying your summer vacation or if you're in the office. Thank you. Hopefully some of the information I share with you will be useful. So I'm also going to start sharing my screen, and there we go. So today we are going to be talking about Google and some of the changes. And I have to tell you, it was kind of messing with my head. There's so many different facets to think, and I think I've got some easy ways to share some information with you. But I know many of you, but for those of you that I have not yet met, my name is Karen Leonard, and I'm the Director of Education Technology and Computer Science here at the Oklahoma State Department of Education, although I will soon be just the Director of Education Technology because we are in the process of looking for a full-time Director of Computer Science. So this is also a plug. If you know someone that might be interested, let me tell you, this is a great place to work. And we'd love to have you. And if you need more information, you can always email me directly. And let's see. Real quick, while we still have a few people coming in, I would love to have you just kind of share who you are and what your plans are for the summer. That would really kind of help me see kind of what direction it might, for sharing all of the information, what might help. So if you could share some information in your chat box, and yes, go ahead, make me feel jealous. I am working in the office all summer long. So, you know, share your wonderful vacation experiences or plans. And while you are doing that, I will tell you a little bit about some of the information I'm going to share with you today. First of all, we are going to talk about some of the changes that are being made within the Google Suite, some that have already been in implementation and some that are coming soon. We're also going to talk about some Google certification options, and I'm going to provide an open forum for some questions and answers. But even though I am just sharing, please at any time, feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions. I really like it when these are interactive. It's really kind of no fun sitting here talking to a screen. So I would love to have your input. And oh my goodness, we've got beach vacations and New Mexico and more beaches. And yeah, and Julie, training teachers for next year. Thank you. I'm so excited. Hopefully they are excited as well. Wonderful. So one last plug that I have. I am holding a summer book club. Oh, wait, time out. First thing, if you notice in the top right-hand corner, I do have a bit.ly. This bit.ly is going to be on every single slide so that you can open it up if you need to on your own. If you're like, I don't want to copy it down now, but ooh, I really like that later. If you are familiar with bit.lys, they are case sensitive. So that would mean since OSD, E, and J in June is capitalized, you would need to capitalize that. Okay, so like I said, I am in the middle, the first week of a summer book club. The summer book club is based upon the book Adventures in Authentic Learning. It's one that has been recommended through ISTE. I really kind of enjoyed the read. It's only 6 chapters long, worked out so that that's 1 chapter a week. We started Monday, but it's not too late to join. I'm posting anywhere between 2 and 4 questions a week. And I think the great part about an asynchronous book study like this is not only are you sharing information with each other, you're reading the book, but you're also sharing information and talking about application uses. And I think that that's always one of the best ways to learn, is to learn from each other. So this is in a closed Facebook group. The book is something you would need to purchase on your own. You could, I'm not sure if it's something that could be checked out from a library, but I do have a registration form. The link is again in the slide deck. And if you have any questions, please let me know. It is not too late to join. Okay, so Google updates. I am a passionate Google user. My school in Georgia was very much Microsoft, and we were able to make the transition. And here at SDE, we kind of use both, but I just love Google because of the interactivity and the collaboration and the accessibility from everywhere. And Google has been very good about the fact that the majority of their tools and services are free. Of course, when you think about that, you do also have to consider all of the data sharing and some of the behind the scenes. And so I know some schools don't use Google just because of that. But several years ago, there used to be, I can't even remember what it used to be called, but it was switched to G Suite for Education. And we're like, what a strange name that is. Well, they've decided to make some changes once again. It is no longer G Suite for Education. It is Google Workspace for Education. I think it probably fits a little bit better. But here's where it gets confusing. There are now 3 levels of Google Workspace for Education. And I've kind of categorized them in terms of, I'm letting some more people in. I found it very confusing. So I kind of categorized them in my head according to a gold, silver, bronze level of tool. Okay, so we're going to think about the bronze, 3rd place, but the great thing about this is 3rd place, Education Fundamentals, is free. It is what most of us used as our G Suite Enterprise for Education in the past. So when I'm going through and talking about different facets, I'm going to try and color code them. So you'll kind of see the orangish bronze is Education Fundamentals. They now have a middle level, which is Google Workspace for Education Standard. To me, standard kind of means lowest, but that's okay. And that would be our silver. And then our gold level would be Google Workspace for Education Plus. And that is what was formerly known as Google Suite Enterprise for Education. The reason Google said that they've gone to these 3 different levels is they said that it provides more control and flexibility for different schools. With that in mind, I know some of you probably are not in the decision-making process for your schools to determine which level you may be using, but there might be some ways that you can kind of sway your district or school to use some facets. So let's look at each of these just a little closely. Google Workspace for Education Fundamentals, remember, kind of bronze level, is the free version, the one that replaced G Suite for Education, and it does provide access to all of the traditional tools that you're used to, your Google Docs, Forms, Slide Sheets, Google Meet, Chat, email, and Classroom. So all of your basic functionality is still free. Where they start to make some changes, well, let's continue to look at fundamentals. It still has the built-in security. It still has your admin controls, very similar, if not the same as what you've had in the past. So if it's very basic, very general. It's when you start to add things on that your price becomes efficient or an issue. So when we have the middle level, the gold, the silver level, we have Google Workspace for Education Standard. It has all of the features of the fundamentals, plus it has some more advanced security controls. It provides users with some of the analytics. I know several people have said, how can I see which students have really accessed documents or been in maybe time limits, how long have they been working on an assignment. This will have some of that capability. So the middle level does some of that. You've got more security issues, different dashboards for different users. One that I think is really cool is it is an investigation tool, and it does provide some of the functionality like you might see from Turnitin. So you can see student sharing of answers. And Google said that they created this middle level because many schools have had digital threats and digital security leaks. So this one is kind of like a bump up. If your school's very worried about security or have had issues in the past, this might be the level that would work for you. And okay, some additional features of the standard level: enhanced group management, enhanced mobile management. Again, some of you, this may not mean anything to you because that's what your IT admin's for. Simple data migration and logging export of information. So it will allow greater functionality. Some of those things that you may have wished you could have. The price associated with that is $3 per student per year. But if I understand this correctly, you are able to select students or like grade levels that you may want to have this functionality with. So maybe if you're a K3 teacher and working with K3 students, maybe that fundamentals is all that you need, but the standard might be better for, some of your middle and upper grades. Okay, so then just to make things a little more confusing, there is also an addition that does not fit into the 3 levels. And this is called a teaching and learning upgrade. This is probably what I find the most beneficial. This teaching and learning upgrade can be added to either the fundamental or the standard versions. And it can be paid by user. So I'm going to get back to that in just a few minutes. But, many people have talked about the fact that Google Meet did not have breakout rooms. Well, this upgrade will allow that. It will also allow some of the question and answering and poll capabilities people have said that they've wanted. It will allow some facet of attendance tracking. There will be noise cancellation. So if students are working in their house and things are going on in the background, a lot of that will be tuned out. It will allow people to record their Google Meets. And you go back to the originality reports and the investigative reports, it gives them unlimited for that. There are some special Google Classroom add-ons that are also included in this version. So another thing is your video conferencing can go up to 250 participants, or you have the ability to live stream for up to 1,000 viewers. So when your schools are looking at this, schools can pay just for this upgrade for teachers, and maybe not all teachers. So it is $4 per staff or admin license per month. And okay, so here's another really strange add-on. So fundamentals is completely free. That's awesome. When you get to the silver level, your standard, for every 4 student licenses you purchase, you get 1 free staff license. And then for the plus, the gold level, again, for every 4 student licenses you purchase, you get 1 free staff license. So the way I was thinking about this is you could almost do this upgrade. The majority of your staff would probably be able to qualify for free licenses if you were in the standard. And then you would only have to pay for the upgrade for teachers. I don't know. You'd have to sit down and do some math. And honestly, math is not my strength, but I think you could be a little creative in how you would go about accomplishing this. And then we have the gold level, the best one, Google Workspace for Education Plus. It has all the functionality. This information is available from Google. Yes, I was pulling a lot of this from their website. That's a great question. All of the functionality of Education Standard and Fundamentals, plus it automatically includes the teaching and learning upgrade. So you get like a 2-for-1 price here. There's also something called a Google Cloud search. This time you can live stream for up to 100,000 viewers. And there's syncing within school SIS systems. Of course, I'm sure that there's probably some, it'll work with some SIS systems, but not others. I haven't seen the list of that. And Google Workspace for Education Plus is available to you for just $5 per student per year. So to me, that's a lot of information because you're trying to think of different levels. And like I said, some of you are in the role where you're able to influence those decisions. Some of you are not, but it kind of gives you an update on some of the functionality. And Jenny Chartney, thank you so much. She has put a link in there. She always pulls through and saves me directly to the Google website where you're able to go through. I've noticed on that website, it does also give you a contact for more information. So maybe somebody from your district could go and inquire about some of this. But I just think, especially with some of the new features, if you do get the teaching and learning upgrade, some of the changes within Google Meet itself are pretty amazing. So I think that's another thing that I've always liked about Google is the fact that they really do seem to listen to user feedback. And if you've never provided user feedback, you can see that, they've listened, they've said, teachers have said, we really need this, and they found a way to make it happen. Of course, there's a price associated, but okay, so some other information. Let's dig into some of the actual tools. If you have the teaching and learning upgrade, I mentioned that there are some Google Classroom add-ons. Teachers can now choose the add-ons from the marketplace and they can automatically be pushed out to students. Normally that kind of happens on the admin side. They're allowed to push stuff out, but teachers can select. Now, with that in mind, once again, I think you should always be in communication with your IT department to make sure that the add-ons, they all have those little intricate, you have to read all of their details and make sure that the information is safe and not sharing inappropriate information or something that doesn't fit within your district. So, some districts might say, we really don't want teachers doing that. We want all the responsibility to fall back on us. And it does allow a teacher to assign work to students in various third-party apps without them needing. So it's kind of like a single sign-on, maybe within something like BrainPop. So kind of like a Clever already built into Google Classroom. And I do know that Nearpod is another one of the add-ons that will work with this upgrade. Let's see, my mouse is not liking me today. Okay, so going on to Google Meet. Once again, with the teaching and learning upgrade, you will now have access to a polling feature. You can throw questions out, kind of like we, with our chat going on in Zoom, but you've actually have the questioning tool, the breakout rooms, the attendance tracking. I am not exactly sure how that works, but I know a lot of people have been very concerned. Now, maybe this isn't an issue, but I do have to tell you, we have a very, very large percent of districts that are planning to continue either full-time virtual and or blended options for students. So, if your districts are doing that, some of these features might be extremely important if your students are not in the classroom. And I think the noise cancellation is always good because, you've sat through meetings and heard all this stuff going on in the background, and it just provides a little bit of sanity for all involved. Google Forms. Jenny, I'm also going to say you did the mic drop in class the other night. I thought that this was great. Google Forms now has an auto save feature. To me, that's just one of those things that really needed, because how many times have you sat there, or students have started on a quiz or a test in a Google form, and maybe something happened to the internet or fire drill and they've lost all of their information. To me, this was just absolutely huge. And I believe that this will be available for every single user, no matter what level. I'm at least hoping. But to me, I thought that that was absolutely huge. Something else, well, this may or may not matter to you. Some of you are very into being very cute and creative. They now have over 60 new fonts available within the Google tools as well. So if you're a person that are like, I'm kind of tired of what I've been using. I know we're kind of restricted into what fonts we can use here, and I'm kind of jealous for the ability to be creative and do that. So you might want to look into some of those as well. So before I go on, any questions, comments, concerns, notices, or wonderings that have anything to do with the new Google levels? You can either type them in the chat or just unmute and ask away. Okay, so either you're all really busy eating your lunch, or you're, you got it and you're like, I can go on and look on my own. Something else that I think is really important. So we had a technology survey that I've referenced in terms of blended and full-time learning, virtual learning. Just from one question on there alone, well, actually a couple questions, the majority of schools we found out in our state do use Google Classroom as an LMS, although it's not really an LMS, it's kind of like a pseudo LMS. And an overwhelming majority of schools use Gmail as their email account system. So when you're thinking about the fact that if Google Classroom and Gmail are being used, then you're probably using the full Google suite. And there are so many amazing things that you can do with Google, and they have different levels of Google certification. If you have not gone through this process, it's really interesting. If you have, again, I would love you to put comments, questions, and suggestions. As a side note, I don't believe Amanda Owneth is on here today, but I know she is out of, I believe, Yukon or Mustang. And I know she is offering multiple Google teacher certification courses throughout the summer. So you can reach out to me and I can connect you to her. Google Level 1 certification is their lowest level, the easiest level. Most people, I don't think, probably really even need to go beyond Level 1, but I would really highly recommend trying to receive the certification. The certification is valid for 3 years. It's $10 per person. I know some districts have paid for that. I'm a person that I was just always paying for it on my own because I figured it was a benefit to me. It is a pass-fail test. You are able to retake the exam 3 times within 1 calendar year if you do not pass. And it's a 180-minute test. What I think is really interesting is part of the test is like multiple choice, true and false, and then it is really application type questions. If you were doing this, they will like give you your own little Google folder, and they will talk about, well, here, open up the spreadsheet that has all of the list of students in your class, and find a way to calculate their grades. Or it's a really good experience, I think, as an educator, because it's showing us that assessments do not have to be multiple choice, true, false answers. It's actually having the learners apply the knowledge. So there are multiple levels of certification, and you do have to renew the certificate level. So like I said, it's only valid for 3 years, and it's not like a simple just submit something and be renewed. You actually have to go through the process each time in order to renew your certification. So like I said, this exam there's 15 to 20 questions that are kind of like matching, ordering, and multiple choice, and then 10 to 12 that are practical exam scenarios. And I know that you're thinking, oh my goodness, so the maximum questions would be like 32. How could that possibly take me 180 minutes? I think it's pretty intense. And, you have to have your camera on and be in a room where no one else is around. And for those of us that haven't had exams in a long time, it is pretty stressful, but it's great. The questions build upon each other in the practical exam scenarios. And if you are going to take the level 1 certification test, it is great because it does cover a plethora of the Google tools. It's not just one. All of those tools there are listed. I did put a question mark beside groups because, with some of the transitions and them phasing things in and out, since Google Groups is pretty much phased out, it was on the last version, but I'm not quite sure. I would assume that they would revise that quickly. So now, when you pass, not if, but when you pass your Google One certification, then you can go on to your level 2 certification. Obviously, you cannot take level 2 without the prerequisite of passing level 1. This certification is also valid for 3 years. Once again, it is a pass-fail. You do not know immediately, and I think that's part of the stress. You have to wait. Sometimes it's 5 minutes, and sometimes it's a couple days before you get your email that says congratulations, or you'll have to wait a few more days so you can try again. And the cost for this is $25. So when you are taking your Google Level 2 certification, again, same type of format, 15 to 20 multiple choice, matching or ordering questions, and then 10 to 12 practical exam scenario questions that build upon each other. And when I took the Level 2 certification last, it really did go into some deep Google tools that I probably would not have had the chance to encounter. At that time, Google Scholar was something that I just really had never played with. And it was really enlightening as an educator or a user to find out some of the other tools that I just really wasn't aware of. So when you're taking the Level 2 certification, yes, it talks about all of the tools from Level 1, but it also adds Blogger, Google Books, the Google Drive add-ons, Google Maps, Google Scholars, and the Chrome Web Store. Now, although I have this information here, again, the test does change from time to time, and I can't guarantee that like Blogger will still be there because they also have Google Sites now. So all of that changes. Now, let's say you're a big Google fan and you really, really want others to be excited about using Google tools. And honestly, I think probably most of you, if you're here, that's probably the level you're at. You may want to consider becoming a Google certified trainer. The prerequisites for that, you do have to hold a valid, not expired, Level 1 and Level 2 certification. This time you only have to have an 80% chance to pass. And instead of a 3-year term, it's only valid for 12 months. This is $15 cost. You have 90 minutes to complete an online assessment, and there are 25 multiple choice and matching questions. And when you're doing this, the content is more on actual application and helping certify or to train others. So you're talking about change management and some of the drivers that actually will help promote use, applicable, pedagogically appropriate use in a classroom, privacy and security features for Google for Education. Maybe you're going to do some help and work within the admin module or console. If you have not been in an admin console for Google, it's really kind of interesting. I know that at my prior school, we were able to set it up that we could say for K3, they were not allowed to use these tools, but by the time they got to 4 through 6, they were able to turn on some different facets of Google. And it's really interesting how customizable you're able to create your Google program at your school. Okay, for this content, you do have to create or submit an application, and you have to include your biographical and organization information. You do have to upload essay questions, upload a 3-minute video, answer essay questions. It's really more of a, once you're a Google certified trainer, they can, you're able to maybe do some consulting on the side for other school districts and help them with their Google programs. And there's one last thing about Google Certified Trainer. Once you receive that credentialing, you're not just done. It's an ongoing requirement. You have to maintain your 2 levels of certification, and you have to complete and log a minimum of 12 training or coaching sessions. And you have to share resources, and you have to go through this list of ongoing requirements every 12 months in order to maintain that certification. And I think that that's really a good idea because, once again, I was saying Google makes a lot of changes. And if you're a person who's like, I'm a Google certified trainer, I did it once, I don't need to learn anything new. Well, they're adding new stuff all the time. So, you do have to make sure that you're up and on top of things. Now, if this is something that interests you, there are tons of resources available out there for free online. Eric Kurtz is a well-known Google expert. He is based in Ohio, and he does a lot of sharing of information. There's a couple checklists of skills that he's placed out there. Some of these are found on his Control-Alt-Achieve blog and blogs, and some he just shares out through Twitter. Think that the checklist that he's created there, if you'll notice after the name, I put the year. So, you can kind of see that Casey Bell, who was another person that I just really get excited about following. Her information is great. It's also 2017 and 18, and I had not yet seen any updated information. So, Eric Kurtz might have the most updated. Some of the questions that are used in the fundamentals training links are used in the actual exams. I remember that when I went through level 1 and level 2, I just took a ton of notes to help me remember things. And I then took those notes and put them in a document that I had a linked table of contents. So if I was on the Gmail section, I could go through and look through some of the sample questions and the notes that I'd taken and kind of familiarize myself through the notes that I took. And all of those are active links. And if you find something that's changed or incorrect, please let me know. I will definitely make sure to change that. Or if you have something that you think might be useful, please go ahead and share that with me, and I will make sure that that's accessible by others as well. So, thoughts, questions, concerns? Are any of you Google certified? Any tips or suggestions you may have for others? Y'all, you're a tough audience here. Come on. Kristen Tanner mentioned recertification. That is one of the things that I've noticed. It's not like they actually reach out to you and say, hey, yours is about to expire. So, you know, what I like to do is stick it on a calendar 3 years out as a reminder to start preparing multiple months in advance.
I've got a question.
Sure.
About the certifications. Is there a training involved, or is it truly just a 180-minute test?
It's the 180-minute test with some of the essays and the teaching video. But then after you received that, then you're responsible for providing training.
No, level 1. Going back to level 1.
Okay, yeah, no, just multiple choice. It is all just the test. And like I said, part of that's just basic knowledge. And then part of it is just application where you're sitting at your computer and how would they give you maybe like an email to a parent, and how would you set this up so it goes into a specific folder, and how would you reply to that with a like standard reply where you don't have to respond to each one. It's the actual application of the tools.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Let's see, Kristen said there's some online modules as well. And Kristen, I think you raised your hand. You have something else?
If I remember correctly, they have, like, you don't have to go in knowing everything and take the test. Like, you do the online modules and then you can sign up to take the test, because the modules are free, but if you want that certification, that's where the $10 comes in. So you do all the work and then you take the test.
Perfect. That's exactly what I was hoping for. I mean, I'm not an expert, but I would like to get a lot of our team to be better with the tools they have.
And it's self-paced in your own time. I thought it was really helpful. But
Awesome.
again, it's been, I think, 3 years, so they've probably updated and changed it, I'm sure.
Okay.
They did. Yeah, thank you for that clarification, because it really, they do walk you through it and provide you lots of free opportunity to train and practice.
I just did my research back in March, April. So, and I didn't feel like it changed too much. There was a little more about Google Sites on it, and then setting up appointments in a calendar. That seemed new to me, but everything else was pretty much the same. But I will say, Adam, I feel like if you sign up and you want to take it that afternoon, they're not going to send you the code until the next day. But it does expire after what, 5 days or something? I mean, you have to be like, kind of think ahead of time, you know, like sign up the day before and then know that you'll have like 3 days to take it.
Certainly. I honestly, guys, my plan was, I'm not Google certified at all, but I would like to be this summer. And I'm an assistant principal here at Newcastle. And so I would like to start helping my teachers move along that path. But I didn't know if it was something that they could get done, or they were going to rely on me.
It should be very easy for them to just kind of give them direction and say, here are some great sites to go to. Like Kristen said, you know, just go to the Google certification page. And again, it's got like that module where you can go through step by step and practice on your own.
At my old district, they had a plan where they got people who are interested in certification together, and they met, I can't remember, I think we met maybe a couple of times and did all the online stuff together. And then if they wanted to sign up for the test, they could. And I don't think the district paid for the test part, but it was $10, so it wasn't that big a deal. But that might be like a thing, like get a group of teachers together that want to do it and roll it out that way.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Any other questions or comments or suggestions? I was trying to think. Jenny said the test, again, I get really kind of stressed out over exams, but it really was kind of fun because so much of it is actually what you'd be doing and using it. And it's such a unique style of test that I really think it's great just for educators to experience as well. So, and Sarah said they sent her code in just a couple hours. So yeah, you don't want to like send it and say, I'm going to register now and take this in 2 months. You really want to kind of time your test registration closely to the time that you plan to take that.
Okay, total other question. Is your certification tied to your name? Like how, did you use your personal Gmail? Did you use your school Gmail?
Gosh, you know what? I don't remember, but I know it is tied specifically to your name and they give you a certificate. And so like I just stored my PDF of my certificate in my Google Drive, and that was my proof. And I believe it does have the expiration date on there as well.
It is tied to your email. So I would use personal. I did not the first time and I changed my email. And so I could never get logged back in. So use your personal. I would.
Excellent. Okay.
So if you move districts, you have it.
Okay, well, again, it's kind of nice out there, although it might be a little hot, and we'll give you some of your time back. I hope that you will join me. I've got a couple additional trainings coming up. We do have Engage OK, which is June 21st through 23rd. I will be presenting on June 21st at 1 o'clock on a document we have created here called the Blueprint for Successful Virtual and Blended Programs. So if you have anyone in your district that is planning to teach either virtually or through blended instruction, they may find this helpful. We're hoping to also create a network improvement community based upon that document. Also on July 14th, we will have a July EdTech meeting, and that meeting will be focusing on creating videos to engage and support students. And it really goes beyond just engaging and supporting students. It might be ways to reach out and communicate with families. If you have a chance, there is a wonderful book called Awesome Sauce. I can't remember the name of the author, but I took a lot of ideas from there. And if I were back in the classroom, I think that would be really exciting to be able to just create short videos to share with students to engage and kind of entice them about what's coming next in your classroom. So again, if you would like access to the slide deck, I would think the slide that really might interest people is the one with all of the links to some of the Google checklists and everything. You are welcome to access that there. You are welcome to share that link with anyone as well. And starting in August, I'm thinking I'm back in school myself, and I'm thinking that these times will work with my fall semester classes. I'm waiting for Jenny to shake her head yes or no. I am planning to do the 4th Tuesday of each month from 3:30 to 4:30. You can register for one or all using the same link. The meeting dates are there. I would love to have suggestions on topics that might be interesting because you know, I want to be able to share information. It's not a good use of your time just to come and sit. If there's a topic that I can share on or find other people to share on, I would love to have that. And please be sure to invite people. This is not just for EdTech people. My goal is to be able to reach all kinds of teachers that maybe just haven't had experiences using educational technology and help them find ways to be successful. Again, you're also always able to access the tutorial database that is on the EdTech website. I have multiple tools, and I also have Google tools. Some of those may be helpful for those people that are going through certification. I also have a resource database that is also on one of our EdTech sites. And this just has a variety of teacher tools, maybe virtual manipulatives, templates. I know that there are graphic organizers, SEL check-ins, anything that's already pre-created that you could take and modify and save you some time, you can do that there. So I'm going to stop sharing and say thank you again to all of you for coming. I appreciate all of you, and please always reach out and contact me if I can help you or support you in any way. That's what I'm here for. So have a good summer. See you in July or at Engage. And I'm just going to stay here and see if there's any other questions or if I can help any of you individually. Thanks.